slowly, looking for him. I get up there, I don't see him. So at this point, I'm panicking. Well, by that time, my boss texted me from their house, whose place I just left, and said, we found Hank in the front yard, and he's not putting any weight on his left rear leg. And so I hauled ass back out there, and I found him, and he had his ears laid down and just, looked like he didn't feel good, but he wasn't screaming, he wasn't crying, he wasn't even whimpering or anything, but he was holding that left rear leg up. And I thought, oh no, what happened? And so we're trying to decide what to do, and I thought, well, let's give it till morning. Maybe he just fell on it wrong and sprained it when he jumped out of the truck. So I slept in a recliner that night. He slept in my lap, and he could not lay still, and he would get up and turn circles in my lap and let out the smallest little whimpers. And I would tell him to lay down, and he'd lay back down. Next morning, he wasn't any better. So, pardon me, we took him to their vet, and they x-rayed him, and he had broken what would be the femur right above the knee bone. And as a little puppy, that's a growth plate. And so the doctor said, there was a few options. One of them was to let it heal on its own, but that bone wouldn't grow anymore and that leg would be shorter and he probably wouldn't use it. Or they could go in and try to fix it and fix that bone, and then hopefully it would continue to grow or whatever. And so I had to think on it for a night or two. So we left him there. I went home, did not sleep at all, trying to think, what do I do? I mean, I can't afford to have this. I think it was $800 they quoted on surgery for fixing the bone. And I thought, well, it's not life-threatening. It'll eventually heal, but he may never use that leg again. Do I want a three-legged dog, or do I want to get it fixed? Well, the wife of this couple is a real animal lover, and she talked me into it the next day getting his leg fixed. She said, look, I know you can't afford it, but you love that dog. I love that dog. We don't want to see him run around on three legs. I'll pay for it with my card, and since you work for me, you just tell me every week how much you want me to take out of your check to pay for this. And I said, let's do it. So we went and got his leg fixed. They put 3 pins in his leg. And for 6 weeks probably, he ran around. Didn't have a cast or anything on there. They just went in, put the pins in, and then he just run around not using his leg. I would give him pain medication, antibiotics. And the funniest thing about it was I would let him outside. And as a male dog, he likes to raise his leg and pee on stuff. And it was funny. He would walk up to something on that left side and then think, oh, wait a minute, I can't lift that leg because it's broken. And then he would turn around to the right side, and all of a sudden he would realize, wait, I can't lift that leg either. And then it got to where he would go up on his front leg for 2 or 3 seconds and squirt out a couple of drops and then come back down. It was just so funny to watch. But he eventually healed from that and got better. And if you see this dog turning around here, chasing his son around, he's 6 years old now. I've had him 5.5 years, so he's middle-aged or a little past middle-aged at this point. To see him still run around this house, you'd have never known that he broke a critical part, of his leg there. So he's really, truly a miracle dog. Best damn dog I've ever had. Like I said, he doesn't know a stranger. He loves everybody. And so I thought, well, I love this dog to death. He's a real unique dog, but in another, let's be real, 4 to 6 years or so, he's going to be too old and I have to put him down. I'd like to have another dog, to succeed him. And so I bred him with a female, and I ended up with Willy. That'll be for another segment. I'm going to get into this cigar for a little bit, then I'll come back and tell you a little bit about Willy. All right, so here we are back again. As you can see, still burning long and strong. Pretty straight burn, still beautiful. Ash, holding on pretty tight. This one's leaning a little bit, so it looks like it's ready to go. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of it there. Draw, still flawless. Still medium, switching to full-bodied on body and flavor. Excuse me. It did kind of transition a little bit. Nothing just like all of a sudden it switched flavors. It just slowly transitioned from kind of that espresso and the peppery, chocolatey stuff to more just kind of black coffee. It kind of mellowed out on that part of it. And a licorice, not like really strong because I hate licorice and I hate Jägermeister, but just a little bit of that like twangy sweetness of the licorice that came up on there. And then a I was getting a little bit of black cherry as well in there, which was mixing pretty nice. And it's strange because I don't remember being these darker flavors the last couple that I've had. Of course, life has gotten hectic here in the last year or so, and I have maintained my humidor as well as I should. And I know this one's a little bit light. I mean, a little bit dry because the band is a little loose and the shoulder cracked. And so I've been working to keep it from unraveling, but it's still performing beautifully. Wonderful flavors. If you like a medium to full-bodied cigar, which most of AJ's blends are, he's starting to blend some milder blends now, but his initial thing was, you know, the medium to full-bodied cigars. So if you like those, I recommend this one. And so enough about that now. Let's get back to talking about my puppy, Willy. I bred him with a friend of mine's female full-blood Chihuahua, and several weeks later I ended up with Willy, and he was a tiny little thing, the cutest little thing ever, and all he ever did was sleep on this little blanket and move a few feet to piss on a little pad I had or eat some food and drink some water. And then he got a little older and started to get a little more independent. You know, I was trying to basically clone, if you will, or replicate Hank because he's such an amazing dog, and I got the complete opposite. He looks like Hank. He's solid black, cute as a button, big ass ears, nice stocky build for a Chihuahua, but he's an absolute terror. He harasses everything. He likes to scent mark around the house, and I can't tell you how many cords he's destroyed. He's got some reason he's got a taste for like charger cords, phone charger cords. I can't tell you how many of those I've lost. And when he goes outside, he's got that little dog complex. As soon as he walks outside, his chest is swole. Excuse me. Got his tail curled up over his back as high as it'll go. He's bristled up and he's running out there growling, kind of like a little Scrappy Doo from the Scooby-Doo cartoons, if you remember that. You know, let me at him, let me at him. And if there's something out there, he's going to charge it. And it doesn't matter how much I call his name, he's going to go running after it until he gets out there and thinks it's no longer a threat and moves far enough away. And then he turns around and comes back. So in that respect, he drives me ape shit. But then he comes in the house, and when he settles down, he gets on the couch with me, and he loves to snuggle and all that. He's just the sweetest little dog. So he's only a puppy. He's a little over a year old. Interesting little fact, he was born the day after my 40th birthday last year. Oops, I just gave my age away. He was born the day after my birthday. So now we celebrate his birthday and mine together. He's a little over a year old now, and he's starting to settle down a little bit. I try to attribute a lot of this little hyperactivity of his and peeing all over stuff and chewing stuff up as being a puppy. But I mean, you get to a point where you're like, come on. I mean, he's over a year old. He's got to grow out of this shit. Hank never peed in the house. He rarely ever chewed anything up. He doesn't bark and growl and raise hell at anything. Hank sits up there in the window all day and looks out there and watches the squirrels and the birds and the people and all that stuff. If Hank makes noise or barks when he's looking out that window, I'm going out on the front porch to see what's in the yard. That's what kind of dog Hank is. He's so chill. But Willy, he's the opposite. He feels like he's got something to prove all the time. So I mean, he's a handful, but he's still a really sweet dog, and I hope he'll grow out of it. If not, I guess I'll have to find a good home for him, although I've become quite attached to him. So anyway, I'll not bore you anymore with that, and I'll think of another story to come back with the rest of this cigar, and I'll let you know what I think about that cigar then.